Welcome back, guys, to Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations, where last episode we answered Agent Lang and his accusation of Francisca by showing how many things had managed to cross the embassy borders, as we finally started to work out how the two statues had, taking testimony from Miss Von Karma to learn that 2 of 4 passion flowers had gone missing, leading us to the realization of a crossbow firing bolts to suspend wire between the 2 Secretariat's offices. Having presented the wire as evidence, we now follow its path. Finally, we have reached this point in our discussion. For I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow. I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you're trying to say. You're saying that the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Coton's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy down to the 3rd floor of the Babalese Embassy. What you're claiming is really what happened. I can see how Alba's Prima Deck statue could be moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down the wire from the 5th to the 3rd floor. But then, what about Babal's Prima Deck statue? The dark shadow in this photo is clearly flying away from Babal. Going in the opposite way of gravity from the 3rd floor of the Babalese Embassy up to the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. How do you explain that? Aha! I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick works. Agent Lang, the motion used behind this trick. I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head. Motion. What motion? This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Babal's Prima Deck statue. Rotary motion, swinging motion, bungee action. Well, the only one that it could even possibly be of those. Like swinging, smash against the wall. Bungee, up and down, sure. Left and right, not so much. Rotary motion can be the only thing. I believe it was done via rotary motion. If the 2 statues were transported simultaneously. Get real! The statues would collide somewhere along the way. Did I ever say that there was only one line of wire between the 2 offices? If you shot an arrow with the 2 ends of a wire tied to it, a circular belt can be formed, like a ski lift. Langzi says, don't object and call a success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the tension difference between the 2 wires, the top one would sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyway. Agent Lang, as you know, the Prima Deck statue is a one-of-a-kind national treasure. And the fact that Babal's statue is a hollow replica of the real statue, it would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is very possible. Langzi says, here's what I believe happened. Miss Yu and her mystery co-conspirator set themselves up in the 2 different rooms. The co-conspirator bridged the rooms by shooting the 2 ends of the wire down on one arrow. Then the 2 of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other end of the wire down to Babal, where it was to be disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu hid it inside the grandfather clock. QED. This proves it, right, Agent Lang? That I'm not the killer. Not yet, sis. I still haven't had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? The proof is in the pudding, as it were. Pudding is a nice dessert. So, do you think you can do it? Can you prove that what you said is what happened? Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir. I agree that as long as there is no proof, my hypothesis remains just that. However, what I have laid out is no mere hypothesis, for there is one more piece of evidence. One more. This should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor. The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt out of a length of wire, I believe it is right here in this very room. Now then, I believe this is what made the circular belt transportation method possible. Well, there's only really, again, one thing to even look at in this room that does a motion that could be used to pull, like a gear. So, I guess...
Take that!
It's you, Mr. Ceiling Fan. Or Mrs. I don't know. Ha! Looks like you dropped another bomb on us again. Last piece to the trick are 2 pulleys. Precisely. The ceiling fans double as pulleys in this case. However, one of them's been destroyed, so is that going to prove a bit of a problem for us? And thanks to the fact that there is one installed in each of the offices, the ceiling fan's made for the perfect pulley set for the wire to run on. This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security. You really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know who the big hotshot that set up this real-life stage show is, don't you? The person who set up this rather large and complex stage show needs to be someone who had foreknowledge of the existence of a ceiling fan in both the Alabastian and Babali's offices, and that the passion flower support stakes could be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case. Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food. Why are you so hesitant, Miles Edgeworth? If you can't say who it is, why don't you present something like you always do? A single point of the finger here in this case will explode into an international incident. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. It appears that I have no choice now but to rush in. There's a piece of evidence that will point us to who the mysterious mastermind is. For something that belongs specifically to this person. Someone who knows what things are, even though they wouldn't appear like that way because they're being used to grow flowers. Neither hair sticks nor sport stakes are actually crossbow arrows. This will prove it!
Take that!
This smuggling could not have been possible without the use of the crossbow. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot by the crossbow were plucked, as it were, from the flower box in this very room. They were planted so long ago that the passion flowers had the time to grow so big that Miss Von Karma didn't even notice the arrows when she visited this room today. On top of all this, the fact that the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us that the person has very detailed information on the embassy's layout. So as you may have already guessed, the person I am accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care. Thus it can only be you, Quickus Alba. Someone knew that. I'm pretty sure someone other in this room knew that and just was waiting. Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth? I'm certain of what I'm saying, and I'm sure that he is the culprit. Did you really not already know? I thought that was the whole point. For bringing us here. Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all that stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that? I understand your need to doubt me, however, there is one thing that stands out to me as very odd. Just one thing, huh? The one single end result Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If we were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we'll finally find the answer to everything. Everything will become clear once we examine this piece of evidence. Oh god. So what he was trying to retain, he was making a specific switch. That was the whole reason he used the bolts in the first place. It was imperative that he got hold of a statue. But if it was this one, is it this one or the other one again? Was he sending the real statue to the other side on the basis of wanting to steal that and smuggle it? But that's, to be honest, personally, is not even in my mind. In my mind, it's the whole thing that... Did he not want to stop the union of the countries? And so therefore getting the other country to steal the other thing was what he wanted. So he wanted this one. For some reason. I mean, is there a storage compartment in it? Could that be a route of smuggling as well? Remember that this whole case revolves around A smuggling ring. It's one of the two statues. We've got a 50-50 choice. The thing he ended up with was this statue. So he obviously wanted that statue, unless he wanted to send it to the other side. So you've got to say this one, because this is what he actually obtained. This is me just reaching with the whole he wanted to stop the country, you know, the country reuniting again, because that was what was going to be happen. It was going to cause a fast when that was realised as the wrong one. But when the other one, or maybe, I don't even know. I still don't necessarily know. We've got to follow the evidence. So he obtained this one of the two.
Take that!
I would fully understand the reasoning had the situation been the reverse. However, to go through the trouble of swapping the real Prima Duck statue for the fake, I sense a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. Okay, even he doesn't understand. We're good. We don't have to understand right now. But who better to ask for that reason than King Prima Duck himself? I see. Ambassador, we'll be examining that statue now, with or without your permission. What am I examining? We found it's bloody. Is there like a hinge? Is there a secret compartment? So it looks like we can examine the belly. With a sword drawn like that, there was an aura of valor and bravery around King Prima Duck. He looks so cool standing on that with the sword stuck in the ground in front of him. Maybe I should try and come up with some cool pose with a shuriken or something. I'm seriously beginning to think that her real goal in life is to become a ninja. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, there isn't anything particularly odd about the sword, right? No, not really. I suppose we should examine a different area of the statue now. I mean, that had the print on it, but we've got to understand that that must be pretty damn solid for it to actually bludgeon someone a bit. Though, actually, we found the blood on the head. Didn't we? There was a luminol reaction anyway. This guy kind of looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think? Maybe it's because they look alike that he was picked to be the Goodwill Ambassador. I suppose that's possible. Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. It looks like a gap. Hey, you're right. Maybe it's meant to be some kind of secret? Perhaps it's possible to open the statue from this gap in its construction. What? Hurry up and open it, Miles. Alright, here goes. Whoa, okay, I didn't even notice that. Wow, it really did open up. Hey, what's this thing that fell out? I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. What the hell was that? So it just comes open at the back at the side. What's in that? Is this printing things? Hey, is this what I think it is? It's a plate for making counterfeit bills. Somehow, it appears that we've at long last arrived at the exit to this complex labyrinth. We finally hold within our hands one of the counterfeit money plates, and the reason why the replica was smuggled into Alba to begin with. The counterfeit plate has now been added to my organizer. The Prima Duck statue can only be handled by the ambassador or the secretariat, and the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the statue the ideal object in which to hide contraband. After receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from Shinar, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damask II. Surprised by the thief, the ambassador raised the replica statue of Damask II and... he totally just got bonked. Then, in order to frame the Steel Samurai of the murder, he covered the samurai's sword in blood. Well, Ambassador Alba, you're the leader of the smuggling ring. My country is a mess, and it's all because of you. You're the one who killed Damask II. Answer us. I never thought that you would figure things out to this level. However, there is one point I disagree with you on. The head of the smuggling ring was... Mr. Koshin. Quite screwing around? Yeah, he is quite screwing around. Quit screwing around. I have no sympathy for someone who would try to pass the guilt onto a dead man. If there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that you're the real ringleader, Quercus Alba. It's not good to speak with such subjectivity, you know, Agent Lang. Quite. Subjectivity? My conclusion is anything but, and is the result of logic and investigation. Logic and investigation? Only a second ago we were ready to arrest Miss Von Karma. I don't think we can give such flip-floppy logic any real weight, do you? It looks like you still don't get why I came back. Excuse me? You see, the reason I came back is so that I could sink my fangs into your wrinkly old neck. From the very beginning, my real target has been you. What? Agent Lang, I demand an explanation. Sorry, sis. I didn't mean to put you through all that. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning. You did? I knew this whole incident had been meticulously planned and prepared for. So naturally, the occupant of this room, Ambassador Alba, seemed the most suspicious. But without the ambassador's permission, we couldn't get in to take another look around. Ah, so that's why you put on this big show to accuse Francisco of the murder. I thought you figured that out too. Using Francisca as the bait, you were able to gain us entry and investigative rights. Yeah, if I hadn't done that, I doubt the ambassador would have given the okay to poke around. So that's what all this was about. Very well, I will forgive you. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth. Agent Lang, for giving me such a great opening. I thank you. You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor. That somehow, if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you would be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic. The evidence detectives collect combined with the logic of a prosecutor. That's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right? I don't know about all that. But one thing I do know is that I'm itching to see that old man get what's coming to him. Oh, you're quite scary when you want to be, aren't you? Hey, you were the one who was planning to use me to push all the guilt onto the sis. But unfortunately for you, you misjudged me. Agent Lang, I wish for you to stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring?
Objection!
Don't be such a sore loser. Yeah. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity. Dignity? That is nothing more than a fool's insincere display of strength. If you really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes, then I would like to first see some of this thing you call evidence. I tell you, I knew nothing, really. I didn't even know that a counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue. Objection! You swapped a real statue that vested in your country the authority to rule for a fake. It doesn't make any sense that you didn't know anything. It doesn't make sense? Where doesn't it make sense? And can you prove that it doesn't make sense? Ah! He's really got us. He's turned the entire situation around against us. The proof that Interpol has been after, which points to this man as the ringleader. If we can somehow find that proof now, then we can see to it that justice is finally served. Is there nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With those two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away in secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. And they're both illegal evidence. No matter what, a protector of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence. Needless to say, we Von Karmas are commanded to achieve nothing but victory, and by any means necessary. The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside of the courts. That's what we thought at the time. I no longer follow the path of Manfred von Karma. And I won't follow the path of the Yatagrasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? If I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands in illegality. And if I want to pursue justice, then I will lose the truth. What is the law and what is justice? And which path is a prosecutor supposed to follow? That choice is one I must make by my own hand here and now. To use the trump card or to not use it? Ha! I mean, it's illegal evidence, but we're not presenting it in a court of law. This isn't... It's an investigation, but we are wanting to get something out of him. I don't know. Does that work that way? I'm pretty sure you can still bluff things out of people. But is that considered coercive? What do I do? This single little small card. Containing orders from boss of smuggling ring to coaching. To use or not to use? It's illegal evidence, but I don't even understand how... I prefer to pursue the truth. It doesn't make you like Manfred. If justice is actually on your side on this one. I want justice. I guess this is the problem with systems. There's no limit to the law. Any limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law too crosses into new territory. For what reason were laws invented? The answer to that is what I must now show. Okay then, nicely put. I just went, I'm gonna do it. But still. Ambassador Alba, I wonder if you might recognize this.
I wonder what that card is. I've never seen that before in my life.
It's a directives card used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates.
Oh, is that what it is?
This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Mr. Manikoshin.
Oh, so why do you have such a card in your possession?
Because it was hand-delivered to me. By a certain great thief, the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu gave that to you? Don't talk nonsense and let's be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you have any proof that the card contains directions from the ringleader?
I'll have you know that the card is not the only thing I was given.
What?
This contains security footage that was shot just before the start of the KG8 incident.
The KG8 incident?
The card and the video. These two pieces of evidence are what will seal your fate.
Oh, very interesting. I must admit I am very curious now. Very curious indeed in these case-deciding pieces of evidence you presented.
The prey of the Yatagarasu who has been chasing all this time now stands before me. I can't allow this man who has had free reign for 10 long years to simply walk away. Now is the time for me to bring to fruition the valiant spirit that was given to me. Ooh. We've moved into neutral territory, have we? I guess that's where the tape we left it after all. We left it in the VCR!
So what is this interesting thing that you wanted to show me?
A trump card and the videotape. These two pieces of evidence together make for the ultimate hand. And this is where the real meaning behind Detective Baz's words will be realized. Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
What you see here is security footage shot just before the KG8 murder occurred. From this footage, we know that the card is a directives card from the smuggling ring. This is the section that proves that the card was used to relay an order. You mean the card itself?
Take that!
How do you see Mr. Koshin is holding the card in his right hand?
I see. The killer is indeed holding a card with the exact same design on it. But that card and the one you have, just because they look the same doesn't mean that they are, does it now?
Ah, but there was a very easy way for me to prove that they are in fact one and the same. All we have to do is simply take a look at this. You mean... Ah! Rotate! Rotate! You mean, very specifically, this. It's dark red blood. Yes, this is your proof. Proof that the orders on this card were played out in that terrible tragedy. The blood belongs to the victim of the KJ8 incident. With a bit of DNA testing, we can very easily verify that as fact. If you have no objections, then I'd like for you to take a look at this next piece of footage. This car that passed by in front of the victim's apartment building is an official Codopian government car.
What?
Detective Gumshoe, if you could please magnify the footage. Can your VCR do that? This area of the footage directly links the smuggling with Codopia. Well, I thought we were going to look at the bloomin' flag, but I guess considering we've got so little actual visual in the small screen, there's got to kind of be this. Is this another card?
Take that!
The shape of this pocket and the directives card in it. It tells us that without a doubt this person in this car is Mr. Koshin. Ah! The license plate on the car was also captured by the security camera. And with it we can easily find out who was sitting in this car on that day 10 years ago. Ah! Which is why I can say with confidence that you were riding in this car on that day. Ah!
You've done well, boy, to make it this far. However, about your claim that I was riding in the car at the time, that's going to be mighty difficult to prove.
How so?
The Principality of Codopia no longer exists, so naturally all records from that time period also no longer exist.
Ah, that arrogance. What he really means is that he's already erased all traces of them.
Are we finished here, boy?
The only weapon I have left to me now is this piece of footage. There must be something here that I can use against him. I mean, we can literally see it. Straight away, he was fiddling with it, he's playing with it. One day I'll be able to press it. What the? Ambassador Alba?
Yes, what is it?
You were once an army man in the service of Codopia, and it was you who made the many missions you participated in successes, correct?
Why the sudden backhanded praises, boy? Although, to be sure, the brilliant medals on my breast were awarded to me during the era of Codopia. But now I am the only one who owns this particular medal.
In that case, the only person it could be who is sitting in this car is you.
How do you figure that?
By the medal captured here in this footage. It is clearly the same exact medal as the one on your chest.
What?
This is how it will be, but I won't look back. But this is the path that I've chosen. Ugh.
You've moved me with your devotion to this case, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why is he taking such an arrogant stance with me?
It's almost looking possible, isn't it? For the lot of you to have come this far, it looks like I just might lose our little game this time.
You might lose the game this time. You don't get another round, Mr. Ambassador.
Is that a fact? Very well, I've decided to confess and admit my guilt.
You're going to confess?
And I will accept whatever punishment that may come as a result.
What the? Regarding the Damas 2 murder, I admit it. I did it out of self-defense.
You're claiming it was justified self-defense. Damask 2 attacked me and I felt that my life was in danger. If I hadn't done what I did, I might be the one you found dead instead of him. What a pathetic performance. I'm not giving you one.
Wow, you two really know how to laugh at inappropriate times.
If you wish to claim it was justified self-defense, then we will need some evidence. It's always the evidence with you, isn't it? But if that's what you require, I'll provide it. That man left a mark on me when he attacked.
What?
I don't particularly want to show it off, but this is proof that it was in self-defense. I'm an old man, and sometimes I don't pay enough attention when I should.
But Damask 2 didn't have a single weapon on his body.
Hold on, it's nothing to get worked up over, because I hid the weapon.
You hid it.
I'm sorry, but as you know, a murder is a murder, even if it's in self-defense. And I couldn't let it become public, seeing as how I am an ambassador. This is the weapon you seek, my special bonsai trimming shears.
Ugh, it's covered in blood.
He was trembling quite badly during our struggle. But that's when he grabbed the shears that were sitting in my office and attacked. You see, it was an act of self-defense.
Is he right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Since he has both a wound and the weapon that caused it, it's enough to declare it so.
No way!
Oh, which reminds me, I guess there is still one more accusation I need to resolve. Smuggling and counterfeiting. Unfortunately, all of that is my secretary's doing. I had no knowledge it was going on. Stop spewing nonsense. You're trying to throw my investigation on the bus in your desperation. If you want to get real honest, everything in this case can be connected to you.
The murder of Damask 2 was done in self-defense. In my trials, no man escapes his crime alive.
Perhaps so, if you were my opponent in court. However, there's one very important fact that I think you may have forgotten.
No, which I remembered, which is why I presented that evidence.
And what is that?
Edgeworth, come on.
That's what you mean. Extraterritorially.
Or extraterritoriality.
That's right. This embassy sits on what is effectively Alabastian soil, so any trial that is to be held will be held in Alabast. Therefore, the crime I just admitted to will never be tried in your courts. Agent Lang, what is Interpol's stance on this? Agents investigate, that's our job. The judgment of people who have confessed to their crime, that's the court's job. And I've already confessed to all of my crimes, Agent Lang. Furthermore, by the very nature of my position, I have full extraterritorial rights. These rights are effective even on your country's soil. Therefore, no matter where a crime may take place, I will never stand trial in one of your courts. That arrogance and your expression. There's nothing like the face of someone who's ready to accept the consequences. Don't tell me you have your own country's judicial system eating right out of your hands. But these crimes you will speak so seriously of, to me this has all been nothing more than a game. You may chase me out of this embassy with your accusations, but it's no big deal. Alabas has numerous other embassies in other countries around the world. All you would accomplish is you would change the backdrop of our little game. These two layers of protection that extraterritoriality provides him. This is why he's one of those who cannot be brought to court. You see now, don't you? I live in a whole different world than you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go and fetch your eviction papers. Is there nothing we can do?
That's what I thought. At first, we were going long because maybe we had him. But within those last few minutes, the realization that things are still not over yet comes to pass. With another to-be-continued point, we end another episode of Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations. We found him, but then it's actually proving it. That's always the problem. So tune in next time to see if we can. Who knows how much longer we have left. I'll see you guys around. Bye-bye.